At this point, you feel like you might know a lot about MAUER TOTEN, but in this video, I'm going to be teaching you 10 secret tips and tricks that is going to instantly turn you into a 200 IQ player. Even if you think you know it all, you will learn something new in this video, so I definitely recommend you check out all the tips we've got to show you. As we dive into these tips, if you enjoy the video and you'd like to support the channel, all I ask is that you gently click that like button down below. That way, the algorithm will push this out to more people that can find these tips useful. And whilst you're down there, you might as well hit that subscribe button too. Our first tip is how to get a loadout weapon to tier 3 by round 7 or 8. This way you'll save your salvage, so you're able to get this weapon to tier 5 a lot earlier. And this is if you spawn in with the Gallo. Now I'm sure most of you will, because it's easily one of the best shotguns in the game. But if you spawn in with the Gallo and open this side from spawn towards the hotel room, you can buy the Gallo off the wall and it's a tier 2 variant straight away. From here you can just pause your game and apply the blueprint for the Gallo, and now you've got even stronger Gallo early on in the game. At this point, just progressing through the rounds, I'm on round 7 here, and I can already upgrade my weapon to tier 3 damage. This is something you just can't do on any other Cold War Zombies map. And this sets you up to have the strongest weapon possible as early in the game as possible. And from here, if you want to get brain rot to get the Klaus part, you can just put it on your loadout Gallo that you've still got. And by the time you get to round 10 and have your first soldat, you are going to just do so much damage against it and the zombies, it's going to make the game a lot easier. This next tip is going to be absolutely invaluable with using your first time use of Klaus to get the kills you need for him on the same round without him disappearing and upgrade him. A lot of the times when you first call Klaus in, you might just forget about how many kills he might need in order to upgrade him for the Easter egg. But this tip will guarantee you'll have that done within his first time calling him in, which costs you nothing. So call him in and don't kill any zombies on the round apart from the Kranzy soldat. As soon as he's available, start training the zombies up between his room and the switch control room and keep prompting him in front of the cupboard to get that black light for the wonder weapon safe. From here, just train the zombies round in the switch control room so that Klaus can take them all out and end the round pretty swiftly. Once that is done, you want to make your way outside back towards the alleyway, which is going to be under the garment factory. And this entire time, you want to just keep calling Klaus to your location so he's constantly on the move and can maximize getting here as quickly as possible. Once you're in the alleyway, you're going to want to put him down here and just basically start training up zombies so we can get as many kills as possible in the time frame that he's still here. After a few seconds, run up to the garment factory and then call Klaus in here whilst training up zombies. This can be a little bit tricky, but use this space wisely. Make sure you've put the satellite in the machine and you will see it go green, meaning Klaus has got the kill requirement and Klaus is still here. And from here, you can just survive the 1 minute defense, and after that, Klaus will be upgraded enough for that Easter egg step with the train, and you would have done that all within the first time you called him in, so you wouldn't have to spend any additional points. And on the topic of Klaus, this third tip is going to be very useful for saving time, combining getting the wonder weapon from the safe and completing the 1 minute defend with Klaus at the same time. Now, I didn't show this off perfectly, but if you've got Ether Shroud, the moment that this 1 minute defense starts, if you pop your Ether Shroud tier 5 and run to the safe to get the wonder weapon, good majority of the zombies are going to despawn from around Klaus, so they won't be attacking that defend station point, but they also won't be spawning very quickly at the safe room. So you have ample time here to put in the code, get that wonder weapon, shave around 30 seconds of time that you would spend defending Klaus. And you can even get into scenarios where you don't have to be here whatsoever. This step will complete by itself because you won't even need to defend him. The zombies just won't be there, which is crazy. Now, for our fourth tip, we're going to be talking about side Easter eggs, and this is going to be the bunny Easter egg. Now, I'm sure most of you know how to do the Easter egg at this point, but what you might not know is you can actually track the progress of how many bunny parts you've picked up and how many you've got left by looking out at the actual bunny club itself in East Berlin Street behind Juggernog, and depending on how many lights are on in the club means how many parts you've gotten and how many you need to get. So if you're playing public games and you want to track how many parts have been collected or if anyone's even started to get them, you can do it through this method. Now, my next tip, which I don't think a lot of you are aware of, is that you can actually re-enter the bunny nightclub and do the whole Easter egg multiple times a game. You can re-enter the club 15 rounds after you left it the first time. And the way to do this is that a bunny is going to spawn in one of the top windows of the nightclub. If you just simply shoot it, you will be able to re-enter the club and try again. And from my experience, if you didn't pick the best door the first time, the chances of you getting the best gear from the door and picking the correct door increases every time you enter. So in the later rounds, when you get to go in for a second time, it might not be as useful as the first time, but there's still that chance of getting the wonder weapon, getting some free perks, getting a ton of salvage. It's just a lot of fun and a really cool Easter egg. But my next tip is how to guarantee yourself getting a max ammo, a carpenter, and a bonus points from this Easter egg room. Now, it's pretty weird and I doubt that you're going to fail this, but what I'm sure none of you know is that if you actually fail the bunny nightclub, the music will start to die out and then this happens. You get brought back to the map and you get a max ammo, a carpenter, and bonus points. Now, in Cold War, you can basically buy ammo for any weapon all around the map. So the chances of you needing a max ammo are very slim. But if there's any case where, you know, getting 10,000 points to get the wonder weapon ammo is a bit too much, then this is a guaranteed way to get yourself a max ammo. And it's better that you know about this than don't. Now, my next tip seems pretty simple and some of you might know this, but there could be a lot of you out there that don't. And when you're attempting the Easter egg, one of the steps involves you having to carry a ether canister and you walk pretty slow. During this, it's going to spawn a ton more elite zombies, which are going to be there to try and take you out. And the hardest part is getting back into the lab and putting this canister back into the container at the bottom. But you can actually mantle over the top rail of the banister in the lab and drop straight down to the floor. Now, I know that sounds like quite an obvious tip to some of you, but some of you might not realize this, and this just saves a ton of headache trying to navigate around some really tight stairs. Now, here is another tip that I can guarantee that none of you knew about. Now, there are going to be some times where you might want to buy stuff in the map, but you just don't have enough points. And normally you can't do anything with that. You're going to have to wait until you've got enough points. But when it comes to calling in Klaus, if you don't have enough points to deploy him, you can actually put a partial amount of your total points into the buyable for him, and it will reduce the price. This means if you're playing in co-op, but you don't have enough points to deploy Klaus, you can put in a share of your points and a teammate can put in another part of their points. So you've collectively put money each into Klaus, and that will actually allow you to deploy him. Now, I've not seen this ever in a Treyarch Zombies map. Last time I thought I've seen this in Zombies was in Infinite Warfare, where certain doors you could share cost of with other teammates, which I think is really cool. My next two tips are going to be invaluable in helping you defeat Valentina, the final boss fight in the MAUER TOTEN Easter egg, if you've been struggling. My first tip is that you'll want to run Ring of Fire tier 5 if you've got it fully upgraded, because if you use that during the boss fight, some of her attacks are projectiles. It can do a ton of damage, and if you deploy the Ring of Fire, not only are you going to be doing double the damage to Valentina, but it's also going to protect you from her projectile attack, because none of those projectiles are actually going to make it through your Ring of Fire. There's quite a bit of confusion and misconception if Ring of Fire actually doubles your damage against her, but I can tell you now in this video, it 100% doubles your damage against her, so I definitely recommend it. And another thing is, if you're running out of ammo, this is a invaluable tip, and in the lab when you first start for that first phase, you can pick up the Tempest Essence Trap and have that as your equipment. Now, at any point in the boss fight outside of this room, if you throw it down, it's going to spawn Tempests, but what they will drop is guaranteed ammo. So if you're running the wonder weapon, which you definitely should be for this boss fight, and you're running out of ammo and you don't have enough points to spend on getting ammo from the ammo crate, which is 10,000, you can drop this down. It will guarantee that you'll have a full wonder weapon after killing those 3 Tempests. This is quite a popular tactic with speedrunners to just guarantee that they have ammo for all phases of that boss fight. And the earlier in the rounds you get to this boss fight, the less points you will have, so this is an invaluable tip. And just before the boss fight, there is a really annoying step where you have to build the uranium pool that you put on either of those zip lines, and there's a good chance that a lot of zombies are going to be attacking you during this, because it's very difficult and you don't have a lot of time to build these at workbenches. So it sounds like a silly tip, but just make sure that you have decoys or monkey bombs ready when you're building these at the buildable benches because it will just guarantee your safety. And my last and final tip for this video is that you can get yourself a guaranteed free tier upgrade through an Easter egg in the spawn room on this map. Once you've turned on the power, make your way back to the spawn room rooftop and you'll notice this document will have spawned that hasn't been here before. Now, as long as you've got a magnified optic on a weapon, you'll be able to complete this Easter egg with ease, and it's essentially a target practice, just like from the last Easter egg step in the berry Easter egg. There's going to be 5 different targets that are going to be appearing through various neon signs and windows throughout the buildings outside of the map. There are 5 targets in total that you need to hit consecutively, one after another, without missing any of them in the allotted time you have. And if you hit all 5 targets successfully, it will spawn a ether tool upgrade. Now, if you combine this with the tip I gave you at the start of the video about how to get a tier 3 weapon by round 7 or 8, if you then get a sniper rifle or an assault rifle with a magnified optic on it from a custom blueprint weapon mod, you can just use that, get yourself that ether tool, and then you'll have a tier 4 shotgun super early on. And in the later rounds, if you're just struggling to get all that salvage to be able to get from tier 4 to 5, then this is a great way for someone in your game or yourself to get that final upgrade. That about wraps it up. If you have any other tips and tricks that you'd love to share, I'd honestly love to read them in the comment section below. You can find one of my previous videos on your screen right now to click on, and I'll see you there in just a few moments.